We all understand the type of climate that we're dealing with. We're dealing with multiple offer situations.
I'd love to know sort of what's your why? What makes you tick? Why are you so successful?
Have a dialogue with your lawyer. Have a dialogue with your agent.
Both sort of passionate about sort of what we do.
Again, vet your agent to make sure that they're experienced and they're local. I like that idea.
No excuse to miss it on Saturdays from 8 to 9.
That's right.
WBZ.
And now, the show that gives you the latest and most relevant housing market news. Real Estate Radio Boston with financial expert Rick Shearer and legal professional Ali Alavi.
I mean, this issue is not a new issue. I mean, we're talking about weather blimps. We're talking about rockets, so on and so forth. I mean, there are other things that have been in the pipeline before that would have posed an issue. This is a little bit more of a stable technology. This is a technology that's going to probably be around for a long time. And there are challenges that associations, I think, are going to be faced with. Namely, let's talk about this. I mean, if I, as a unit owner, decide that I'm going to fly my drone, and I think during the break, Rick was talking about how maybe my privacy is going to get compromised as another unit owner, that a drone is flying next to my unit, and I may not be in such a.
I could be naked.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
I could be naked, thinking I have privacy on the 17th floor, and there goes a drone looking in my window. What can I do?
Probably you can do the same thing that anybody could do when there's a peeping Tom looking in your window. There are laws against that. The issue of drones, however, in condominiums has become a hot topic in the community association area. I'm on the board of governors of the College of Community Association Lawyers, and I'm also the head of its drone committee. And we are arguing right now, discussing, I would say, whether or not community associations should be limiting the use of drones by the owners in their associations.
What's the concern, Henry?
The first thing is whether or not we should be limiting the use of drones for our unit owners when our next door neighbor in the triple decker or the single family home can fly into our community with impunity, and we cannot stop them. Mm-hmm. That's one issue, but there are other issues as well. For example, there are issues of liability.
Correct. If your son is playing on the balcony and the drone loses power and falls down to the ground, who's responsible for that? There are issues with the master policy of the association in general covering, or is it your homeowner's policy covering it? So the board has a responsibility to make sure that you protect and insulate them from claims like this as much as you can.
And if it hits a car in the parking lot,
sure.
Right. Or somehow it goes haywire and flies into someone, or flies into someone's window and breaks it. Or if you have a kid who wants to play with it, and you're in a high-rise condominium, and they fly it down the hallway where there are pedestrians. There are all types of potential liability issues that arise as a result of drones. But on the other hand, you don't necessarily want to eliminate drones, because in the commercial world, there is going to be the possibility of deliveries of packages, as Amazon wants to do. And delivery of newspapers.
Honey, the drone's here.
Yeah, right.
Did you tip the drone?
Yeah, right.
We wanted to shift this conversation over to radon exists not just in single-family homes, obviously.
It's not just a single-family issue.
Exactly.
Right.
I mean, the radon exists in condominiums as well. Yep. And given the fact that not all condominiums are created equal and not all basements are the same, and the configuration of the exclusivity of the basement may be different, What type of issues have you faced with, Adam and Henry? How do we contemplate for these types of things? So, Adam, what do you think?
Yeah, this is actually fantastic, and this was unscripted that we,
of course,
which is a home run, and we deal with this
it's
literally.
It's all unscripted, just in case anybody wants to know.
And Becky in my office, she's the one who deals with the associations on a daily basis, and it is a process. And look, the big issues are, number one, aesthetics, right? You're in a multifamily, condo unit. You just paid big money, and all of a sudden somebody wants to put a pipe, on the outside of the unit next to you that you're going to look at. People freak out.
Yeah. So let me stop you there. Henry, we're dealing with aesthetics. We're dealing with a health issue. How does a unit owner deal with that, and how does an association deal with that?
Well, in the first instance, condominium associations really do not want to be responsible for any radon coming from the common area. The big problem is that we have to divide the basements into two types. One, which is general common area, or number two, that which is owned or controlled by the unit owner. If it's general common area, the courts have not yet decided, at least around here, as to whether or not the association has any responsibility to get involved with radon remediation. On the other hand, if it's a unit owner's property or something that they have control over, the association will generally decline to get involved, saying this problem comes from the outside. It comes from rocks and other things whereby gases come from the outside. We don't want to dig up the entire common area and remove things and put in fill, etc. This is the unit owner's problem. They let the unit owner deal with it. As to changes to the exterior, that is a whole other problem that deals with statutory prohibitions on changes without getting permission of other unit owners. It deals with control over the common areas in terms of color and what can be put out there. And it depends in part on the condominium documents as well.
We talk about that a lot on the show because, I think Teams is what we see as doing this for 10, 15 years. Teams is what makes this process and the whole process seamless. Yes. And I think having such a strong team in place, but now you've got the internet, and now you've got people that are buying that think that they know more about mortgages than anybody because of Google. And so you see people kind of start trending, and I see first-time homebuyers trying to put their own teams together. Like, I'm going to take my realtor and I'm going to put them with this online lender or a lender out in the Midwest. And then I went on to, and my grandfather told me about his friend who's a real estate attorney or does some real estate, and they try to assess their own teams. How are you seeing that work?
It's a challenge when you come into contact with someone who really wants to do it on their own. And I think what they're missing out is that local information and the local connections. It can be done, but you have the potential to miss out on a great listing that just came on in an office that might not have been in MLS yet or is getting ready or is being staged. So I think that it's always better to speak to someone who does this for a living full time.
Right. You were going somewhere. I'm sorry, Ali. You were going somewhere that I just wanted to talk to you because you guys do a ton of listings. I know you guys are known up in that area for just listing some of the nicest properties. When you guys get offers, because right now typically there are multiple offer situations, there's a couple of factors that you're going to look at on these offers. What kind of factors are you looking for? Are you looking for the lender? Are you looking for the terms? Looking for both? Walk us through what kind of value you're bringing to your sellers.
Okay, and this has just happened recently with many offers, with many listings in our office. And we try to keep it professional and unemotional, which is often a challenge. You want to present to the seller all the facts. You want to look at how strong their financing is. That's key. You also want to look at how their terms set them apart from the other buyers out there. You want to look at timing. Sometimes these buyers have something they need to sell in order before they can make that purchase. So definitely you look at all the terms. But you also want to see if they have a good understanding of the home and the community. And the inspection, you were talking about that earlier. Not everybody, they might pull that to make their offer stronger, which I would never recommend. You really need to know the house inside and out. Even if the seller is not going to negotiate on it, it's to the buyer's best interest to know what they're buying, and to know the home and the foundation and the systems, the things you cannot see.
Sure.